get on this podcast. Where is Gene? Go ahead and just do this. Welcome to the Unmatched Style video.
Dude,
the hell?
Door.
Well, it's locked. Do you have a key?
No, just let me in, man.
Well, how do I know it's really you?
Dude.
Do you have a password?
Booger?
Oh, well, no, I don't think that's the password. Did you forget your password?
Apparently so.
You want to make a new one?
Booger.
I don't think it's going to work. It has to have a number in it.
Booger 2.
Is that a capital B? It needs to have a capital letter in it.
Dude, capital B, Ooger 2.
This episode of the Unmatched Style podcast is sponsored by Sticker Mule. Glad you finally make it.
Me too. I'm glad to be here.
So, didn't you have some cheesecake?
No cheesecake. But, why'd you lock the door?
That's a security feature.
Security?
Yeah. Well, just like doors have locks, it's really important for websites to have security.
That's interesting. You know why? Because I've got a whole bunch of examples for you.
Yeah?
We've got a couple of login screens like Wufoo. We want to look at that and Mailchimp. And I got an interview with Ron Lewis from Mailchimp.
Let's look at them.
Cool. Let's start off with Wufoo. This is a really cool example of a pretty standard login form, but it's also doing some things really well that I think we should all kind of borrow from. When you go to their login screen, if you're a Wufoo user, you go to their login screen, the whole site is blacked out, and you just have the login stuff, username, password, and all the other stuff.
The thing that Wufoo also does, because they've gotten rid of all the other cruft that a website might have, is that they also use it kind of as a dual purpose of getting people to sign up for new accounts. So you can get here, and the only other thing you can do besides log in, basically, is get a new account.
Yeah.
So I think that's really smart.
All right, so the next site that I wanted to show you was the one for Vimeo, which is a video sharing service. We all know about this service, I think, if you work on the internet. But along the lines of what we're going to be talking with Ron Lewis about is the login screen is also a really great place to sort of show off your brand a little bit, because it's like everybody has to see it at least once in their life using your app, right? So like Vimeo, they have this really cool page where they show the earth and animated cloud and stuff like that, and it's just kind of like legendarily neat looking. Right.
It's a little bit how sometimes people will make kind of cool 404 pages.
Yeah.
There's not really any reason to design that because it's a purely functional thing.
Right.
But if you can make something cool, it can reinforce your brand and give people a reason to actually go to your site and have it be something cool. So let's talk about the Mailchimp one. This is very, very, very basic. It doesn't have a whole lot going on, not a whole lot of stuff to distract you, except for they often have this kind of really cool artwork.
Yeah.
Kind of like Vimeo, it brings in the brand that they're trying to get across to you.
Right. It's an emotional connection just by having the monkey on there.
Yeah. Well, they had the monkey. I guess the one we're looking at now has the monkey, but they seasonally and holidays they'll roll out these kind of cool artwork things, and that's another way for people to share something that's usually not going to be shared. It's just a login screen.
And they even go so far as to tie it in with like T-shirts and stickers and things like that to give away. So there's this whole like offline promotional aspect going in conjunction with their login screen. You want to take a look at this interview with Ron Lewis?
Yeah.
See what he has to say about the design process behind all this?
Yep.
I'm here with Ron Lewis of Mailchimp, the creative director of Mailchimp.
That's me.
Awesome. The man responsible for all this cool login screens and posters and T-shirts and stuff with Freddie von Chimmenheimer.
That's me. Yeah, I do all that stuff.
That's awesome. Well, tell me about the. I want to talk about the artwork a little bit. The chimp himself. How did he come about? Who envisioned that?
Well, originally it was envisioned by Ben Chestnut, CEO of Mailchimp. The original one was just a flat vector circle, and
it was like a straight on.
Yeah, straight on, and this is real basic. And then they hired John Hicks to do the redesign.
Right.
And so John Hicks, based on a couple sketches, built Freddie Chippenheimer the Fourth, which is what we see now.
Right.
And then I came along, and we kind of want to be able to change things just a little bit more because it gets a little old sometimes seeing the same thing. Right. And then we just kind of tore up his artwork and made my own. So don't hate me, John.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
So how do some of those splash screens come about? Like I remember there was one I forget the author, but the one who wrote, the person who wrote Winnie the Pooh, and you had some like Halloween ones and the Star Wars one. How do those come about? How do you sort of envision those?
Well, really, it's kind of up to the artist that does them.
Okay.
Like, I didn't personally do that one.
Right.
Linda did.
Okay.
She's one of my lead designers here at Mailchimp.
Okay.
And what happened is she just likes Winnie the Pooh, and she ended up drawing that by hand and watercoloring it by hand.
Okay.
And then scanning it in, and then we retrofitted it to the login.
That's pretty cool.
And kind of, it took about a week and a half to build, but it just showed a little bit more of the process, and we did a whole blog post about it.
Right. That kind of blew up on the internet too.
Yeah, people love that kind of stuff. We found that you just have to have a monkey in it, regardless.
So your creative direction secret is add more monkeys.
More monkeys, more bananas.
Right. That's good. So you've sort of overseen this thing, like this Freddie Chippenheimer, into like those things, t-shirts, posters, but you've got like a mascot.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you take a concept like that and just run it through the gamut of all this stuff? I mean,
it's just, you just kind of like think of stuff you want to do with it,
Mm-hmm.
It's just like having a Camaro, I guess, You get a crappy, like, IROC Camaro,
Right.
You kind of want to put flames on it. Maybe you want to make electric blue, or
Right.
maybe you want T-tops,
Okay.
And I just kind of have to retrofit it to what I'm kind of feeling and kind of go from there.
That's cool. That's cool. So how far does your arm reach into the actual application itself? Like with all there's so much fun stuff.
A lot of that stuff, it's more Aaron Walter's world is
Okay.
the application, but we do have conversations back and forth about,
Right.
Where we put Freddie. There's just not a lot of like playroom in the application because
Right.
it is
It's
an application.
Yeah.
But we are trying to like work out different ways so that it doesn't like intrude on the user experience, but it still can be kind of fun.
Like the strong bad.
Yeah.
On the load screen. If you haven't seen that, it's really cool.
Yeah. Might be going away soon.
Uh-oh. Let the cat out of the bag.
Sorry.
Right. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ron. That was
Thanks
awesome.
a lot. Awesome.
All right, so I wanted to show you something else too. We've got this Discus. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that. Maybe somebody can help us out.
Yeah,
But
who
anyway, we've got this on our reboot.nmatstyle.com blog. It's on lots of blogs, but it's just the comment system that you can embed on there. But they do that whole authorization thing where you can like log in with your Facebook ID or Twitter or Yahoo. Or
Right.
My idea behind doing something like that is to make it easier on the user to just sort of authenticate themselves really quick and get in. Right.
Yeah.
It slows down that process. So it's sort of like the opposite of what we're talking about with some of the Mailchimp and Vimeo stuff. Or trying to brand that login screen. It's like you just don't care about the login screen. So
Right.
It's kind of like
right. And as
two modes in
as the site owner, you may not know who these people are as much. You're not storing all that information because if you use Facebook, you don't get that information. Facebook does.
Yeah.
It's just something to think about if you integrate something like Discus.
Right. And it fights the trolls, right?
I mean, theoretically, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were telling me something about the TechCrunch website, right? Where
I guess there's a bit of a controversy going on now because TechCrunch was owned by AOL. It's a huge site. Gets lots of traffic. Right. They have integrated Facebook comments as the sole means of commenting.
Yeah.
And so for them, they're probably looked at it and said like, okay, well, everybody has Facebook. Let's let people log in. It'll, like you said, cut down on the trolls. But the downside of it is that why should my personal identity be tied to everything that I do on the internet? If you take this down a kind of a slippery slope, if you will, if every site did this, it would be almost impossible to be anonymous on the internet. Which is kind of fundamental to people's identities on the internet. If I don't want to mix the fact that I hate the iPad, with my friends on Facebook, why do they need to know that? Why can't I just,
Yeah,
crap
I mean,
on that
I like the Facebook comment system. I mean, it's a really good idea for promoting your website or whatever through that Facebook channel. But you're all right. I don't always want to authenticate myself so everyone knows who I am.
Right.
Sometimes I want to troll. There's one other thing I wanted to get your opinion on and see what you thought about. There's this site. We did a review of this a while back, but it's the Charleston City Paper. They have this thing where the site's basically a newspaper website, but they accept blog comments and stuff. And when you go to make a comment, it asks you to log in, basically create an account and log in. My opinion of that is that it actually will deter.
Yeah. Well, the way it works is like if you don't know that that you have to log in until you try to make a comment. So you can compose your comment and hit submit, and it's like boom.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta log in. You know,
Right.
and so when you do something like that, you're actually deterring users. You know, and the whole point of having a community is you want people to comment. You want to make it easy enough so they can comment. So you might need to require like a name and email, but you don't want to make it so hard that they just like pack it up and leave.
Yeah, I mean, I think, asking someone to become like a permanent friend basically by setting up an account might be a little much.
Right.
Just for a blog.
Right.
Discus does that, but not really by using that Facebook or Twitter connection.
Yeah, but
kind of bypasses
but it's pretty clear that you have to do something.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to just having like a blank field and like getting this like stop.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Totally. Login forms are really important for your website or your web app. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unmet Style podcast. If you don't mind, you can follow us on Twitter. You can even give us a review on iTunes. It really helps let people know about the show. And until next time, I'm Gene.
What the hell? I thought there wasn't any cheesecake.
Yeah, they were all out.